What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, I originally recorded this video, and some kind of way it disappeared off my computer magically, so I'm re-recording this video. And you're lucky I like you guys, otherwise I wouldn't do it. But anyway, I wanted to talk about a subject which is heavy in the boxing community right now. Nonito Donaire versus Guillermo Rigondeaux. Make sure you check out my series called Ego's the Matchup. I did one on Donaire Rigo. I'm working on some more currently. Put a lot of time into those, so make sure you check them out, spread them. And as far as this fight, I'm really excited. It was a fight that had a tumultuous beginning. We didn't know if the fight was going to take place. There was VADA testing issues. They couldn't find out where Rigondeaux lived. Donaire said he was going to pull out. Guillermo Rigondeaux had some problems with his promotional company that works with Top Rank, Caribe Promotions. Just a lot of back and forth. They were even talking about making a Vic Darchinyan Donaire rematch, saying that Rigondeaux is not the end all be all. They will look for other opponents if he doesn't want to take the offer that was being given. So, all in all, it was a fight that I wasn't too comfortable was going to get done just because boxing, there's so many politics. And I'm like that with everything, especially in boxing, because I just have to see something. I have to see some effort being made in the network or the promotion. I got to see them put money into it. Usually, when they put money behind it, most of the time those fights happen. The only fight I could think of where that didn't really happen and they were already kind of underway was Uriorkis Gamboa versus Brandon Rios. That fight should have taken place and would have taken place, but as you guys know, it's a long story and Gamboa pulled out. So, looking forward to Nonito Rigondeaux. A lot of people were asking me who I think will win. I have a video. I'll put in the video responses. It was an early prediction video. I've talked to some of you guys through comments and let you know my thoughts. So I'm going to make an end all for the record. What does Ego think of this fight? First of all, I think it's a hell of a matchup. It's really a 50-50 fight. Either fighter can win. It's going to be a test for both fighters to see can they both adapt. There's a lot of questions that will be answered. Rigondeaux has a huge amateur pedigree, over 400 fights with minimal losses, and a lot of people use that and want to know, is that going to transition well to him being dominant for the next couple of years in the sport, in the professional ranking. And then we know Nonito Donaire has been on an incredible win streak. He hasn't lost since, I believe, 2001. He won Fighter of the Year yesterday. He won Fighter of the Year last year. He fought 4 times. And again, it's going to be a 50-50 match. Nonito Donaire, he's really at a crossroad in his career. He won Fighter of the Year. His wife, Rachel, is about to have their baby, so that's something he's experiencing for the first time, I believe, in this training camp. So it leads many to speculate that this is the perfect time for Rigondeaux to take advantage of that. Again, anytime, you know how, especially if you're a Pacquiao fan, you know how distractions work, because quote-unquote, Pacquiao was distracted in the Marquez 3 fight. That's why he didn't perform at optimal levels. So in boxing, it's a really disciplined and dedicated sport, so you really have to focus on your craft, your training camps, and let outside distractions be outside distractions until you are finished. I think Floyd Mayweather did an excellent job, knowing he had to go to jail within like 30 days of his Cotto fight, and that was a big fight for him, second time at 154, and I think he performed. So will it be one of those experiences for Nonito Donaire, or will it be more like Pacquiao versus Marquez 3, where you could see that it didn't look like Pacquiao was really prepared for what Marquez was bringing, even though he won the fight technically. I think he should have lost that fight. But again, huge fight for both fighters. It's at the Radio City Music Hall in New York, a legendary venue. Roy Jones fought there. I think he's the only other fighter that's fought there. And I'm really looking forward to it. My prediction, and this is to set the record straight for those I haven't talked to already, I think Nonito Donaire will win. I think if there is a stoppage, I could see it from Nonito more than I could see it from Rigo. If Rigo were to win, I see Rigo winning on points and outboxing Nonito Donaire. But I honestly, in my heart of all hearts, I think Nonito has this, and I think he might stop him. I'm not going to say easy, because that would be disrespectful to Rigondeaux, but I think he might actually stop him. in the later rounds. Rigondeaux, to me, has a suspect chin. He looked like he was visibly rocked in the fight with Roberto Marroquin. And also on the Cordoba fight, he got rocked a little bit and his glove touched the canvas. And I don't know, his chin is, there's a question mark, there's an asterisk by his chin. And we all know Nonito packs a punch. Both fighters have power, both fighters have speed. Clearly, Rigondeaux has the better defense. But here's the catch with defense. Nonito has shown that he can get hit. I don't disagree with that at all. However, and trust me, I'm not one of those people that say these people are intentionally taking punches. The only fighter I could even think of that really kind of does that is Brandon Rios. That's on an elite level at least. That really just takes a lot of punishment just to output his shots. So I'm not saying Nonito intentionally tries to get hit. That's not what I'm saying. But I think once he feels out a fighter and if he feels he could take their best shot, then he's more eager to open up so he can give his devastating left hook or counter shots. And I really think he does that. But I think he will be more sensible based on the opponent. Another fighter that I think did that recently is Adrian Broner. If you watch the DeMarco fight and the Gavin Reese fight, which happened in the span of 6 months, it wasn't like a big gap between the two fights. The way Adrian Broner fought DeMarco versus the way he fought Gavin Reese, when he fought Gavin Reese, he fought a lot more edgy and a lot more just kind of reckless. Like, I mean, a lot of people said, oh, Gavin Reese was tagging him. I think he didn't. Ultimately, this is my opinion, I don't think he respected Gavin Reese like he respected Antonio DeMarco, because if you look in the DeMarco fight, he wasn't really showboating in rounds 1 or 2. He was like more compact and used better defense and just better overall boxing than in the Gavin Reese. In the Gavin Reese fight, he was kind of like, it looked like he was toying with Gavin Reese to me, and he may have underestimated that Gavin Reese was feisty, and then he buckled down, got serious, and then from rounds 3 to 5, he took over. His athleticism, his power, and everything overwhelmed. But again, I think the same thing with Nonito Donaire. I don't think he's going to fight every fight the same way, depending on what he feels for that opponent. A lot of people just don't like Donaire. I get the idea that they just don't like him. I don't know. Maybe they don't like Pacquiao and he reminds me. I don't know. I don't really know what it is. I never understood it. I've always enjoyed Donaire, but I also like Rigondeaux. I just never understood why so many people hate. Whoever wins this fight, to me, just deserves the critics to shut the fuck up. They deserve a lot of props. If they win convincingly with no bullshit, no controversy or whatever, they deserve a whole hell of a lot of props. Because whoever wins this fight is the real deal. But a lot of people hate on Nonito, and some of the comments that I see regarding this fight, it doesn't really resonate with me. A lot of people use reasons Rigo is going to beat Donaire as like Jeffrey Matabula gave Donaire problems. And you can't really compare those two, in my opinion, because Matabula is fighting at 122 and he's damn near 6 feet tall. That would be a problem for anybody, for just a solid boxer who uses a jab. Look at Lennox Lewis, 6'5". That's one of the things that made him hard to beat, is because he was so tall and he has an incredible jab. Look at Paul Williams. Paul Williams fighting at welterweight, and he's like 6 foot, 6'1". I mean, that could be a challenge if you have boxing skill plus you're taller than all the other fighters. Look at Oscar De La Hoya. Look at Amir Khan in some of the divisions that they were in. And based on their frame and the reach and length of arms, that could pose a problem for really anybody. So the Donaire versus Matabula, you can't really compare, especially since Donaire is taller than Rigo. Even though he kind of fights small, he kind of crouches down a bit, he's still an inch taller than Rigondeaux. So that's not really a good comparison. I'm not comparing Rigo to Jeffrey Matabula either, because I think Rigo's a whole hell of a lot superior. But I'm just saying you can't really compare those stylistically. You can't compare those fights. They're nothing alike. Another comparison I hear is Nonito versus Navarez. And I can't even compare that, because I think Rigo is a far better counterpuncher, and I think he will be more aggressive than Navarez. Navarez was just blocking all night. And I mean, he landed a couple shots, but he really wasn't opening up or willing to engage. I think he felt Nonito's power, and he was kind of just like defensive, like to the point where it was to a fault. You got people like Floyd Mayweather, who's arguably the best, most defensive fighter in boxing history. However, he's not just being defensive like some of you guys would allude to. He's not just being defensive and not landing anything. So to me, there's a difference from being defensive and being defensive but having an offense. And to me, Narvaez wasn't really doing anything offensively. I mean, he landed some shots, but he was for the most part blocking. I don't know if you guys play video games, but back in the day, they had like Street Fighter Turbo, Street Fighter 2 Turbo and stuff like that. Or really any fighting game, Marvel versus DC, whatever the game is. Usually in those video games, there's a control on the controller that allows you to block. And I remember playing Street Fighter, and sometimes just for shits and giggles, I'd be Blanca, and then the person, my friend, was Guile, and I'd be at the corner of the screen, and the person would come to attack me, and everything they did, I would block. I would just block. I wasn't throwing any punches. I wasn't kicking. I wasn't doing anything but blocking. And if they try to kick me low, then I would duck down low and block. And no matter what they did, I would just block it. And that's kind of what Narvaez was doing. It wasn't really much of a fight. Like I said, using the video game analogy, there's controls for blocking. And if all the fighter does is block, then it's really hard to do anything significant. You usually have to jump over them and then get on the flip side of them, jump on their head and kick them, or kick them low when they're standing up blocking. You got to do something like that. So I don't think Narvaez is a good barometer to use for why Rigondeaux would have success. But again, whoever wins, I'm going to give them full props. And I think both fighters have the ability to win, but I honestly see Nonito winning either unanimous decision or stopping Rigo from round 7 to 10. That's what I see it. That's the way I see it. Either fighter can win, but I see Nonito just being too much. I think Rigo's chin is a little bit questionable. He has almost impenetrable, I don't even know the word I'm trying to, impenetrable defense. However, he's going to have to open up. If he wants to win, then, I mean, he's going to have to open up. And I think Nonito is going to wait for those moments. And Nonito also being a fast-handed fighter, I think he's just going to capitalize. So I can picture him getting caught with maybe a left hook. That's his money punch. And I think Nonito has a far better chin. So that's just my personal opinion. You can hate me for it. You can love me for it. It doesn't really matter to me. I think Nonito wins. I just see Nonito winning. Anything's possible in the sport of boxing. At the end of the day, I didn't expect Bradley to be fighting for his life in rounds 1 or 2 against Ruslan Provodnikov. And we all know how that fight played out. So this fight is a lot more 50-50 to me than I expected Ruslan and Timothy Bradley to be. So anything can happen. I'm not shitting on Rigondeaux. I think what happens in the sport of boxing, sometimes people have a favorite fighter, and anything that's said constructively, anything that's said to critique their fighter, they automatically get hesitant and defensive. Like, oh, Rigo's good. You hate Cubans. You hate this. And like, what the fuck are you talking? Like, some of you guys are just outlandish. Just say stupid shit. Like, yeah, like funny. I don't know. It's just funny. People don't even know what nationality I am, and they're like, oh, you hate Cubans. You hate Mexicans. You hate blacks. You hate Muslims. Like, you hate Filipinos. Like, damn. If I say anything about anybody, I guess I'm just a hateful person. I just hate everybody, I guess. That's the way it works. I'm just racist against everybody. Every religion, Muslims, Jews, like, shit. So anyway, that's just my thoughts on it. Let me know who you guys have winning this fight. All in all, I expect for an exciting fight. Both fighters have something to prove. Looks like they're both going hard in the gym and really training hard on the little media day workouts that I've seen. Rigondeaux looked very sharp in his training, very, very sharp. He was doing the little war cries. Yeah. That's what he was sounding like to me. But anyway, he looked really sharp, which makes it better. So if my prediction is accurate, there will be no excuses like, oh, this happened and that happened. From what I've seen, it's a 50-50 fight, and a lot of commenters are responding accordingly. Actually, I've seen probably more comments favoring Rigondeaux. So I love fights like this because when the prediction, if it does come true, then there can be no excuses because both fighters have been given a shot. So let me know what you guys think. That's really all I got to say on the matter. Can't wait for Saturday. I'm definitely going to drink and eat like a king and watch this. So let me know what you guys think of this fight. Who wins? What round? Leave me some details. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Until next video, it's Ego signing off.